Many claim to have hell experiences, and although I've had both heaven and hell experiences, I'm going to deal directly with my hell experience at this time. You choose for yourself whether you want to believe this or not, but I feel the need to share this with anyone who is willing to listen. God bless. I remember praying and getting ready to go to sleep. I was going to fall asleep and everything, and as I started to fall asleep, I heard God tell me, get up and pray. And I'm like, okay, I already prayed. I'm too tired to pray, God. All I want to do is go to sleep. Well, this happened about 3 times, and I did not get up and pray like I should have. All of a sudden, I saw this black figure walk through my bedroom door and start heading towards me, and I was like, okay, now what the heck's going on? And before I knew it, this thing had me and was dragging me downward. As I looked, I realized I wasn't in my room anymore. I was going down a pit. I could see this hole above me that began to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And as I was going down further and further and further, the atmosphere that I was in began to change as I would kind of break through a veil. It became harder and harder for me to breathe. I tried to break away, but it had me in a bear hug. And I could see this thing as a black shadow with flames all around it. And I began to cry out to God for help, and all I could hear him say was, where is your God now? What's he going to do for you now? God can't hear you. And I could remember thinking to myself, if this thing does not shut up, I'm going to spit on it. As I continued to go downward with this thing pulling me down, I would break through like another layer of whatever it was where I was, and I couldn't breathe. It was like I was gasping to breathe. And it kept on telling me things like, God can't hear you. What's God going to do for you now? God can't help you. And I remembered thinking to myself, God can hear me no matter where I'm at. And I kept crying out to him for help. And as I got to this one point, I remember thinking, if I don't get help soon, I am going to suffocate because I cannot breathe anymore. As I stood there as though suspended in time, I could feel fire beneath my feet. And I could smell the stench of death like nothing I had ever known before in my life. And I was like, oh my God, where the heck am I? And I could feel these beings on either side of me and this huge pit below me with fire. And people underneath me, seeing like as if I could see their hands reaching up, trying to grab a hold of me, and hearing their voices crying out for help. Help! Help! Help me! And I began to think, oh my God, what the heck is going on here? And it was like I was in this other place. I couldn't believe where I was. As these people were trying to crawl out, I could see these beams knocking them back in somehow. And I can remember thinking to myself, oh my God, this is hell. These poor people are in hell. This is what it's like in hell. And I began to think to myself, God, if this is your will for me, then so be it. And all of a sudden, something inside of me just began to not accept what was going on. And I began to try to shake free, because this being had me in a bear hug. So my arms were pinned to my side. And I couldn't break free the whole time that I was going down to this place. But all of a sudden, I just had this ability to just break free with one hand. And as I broke free with my left hand, I remember looking up, and a right hand came down, reaching towards me. And as I looked up at this hand, I said, oh my God, I got to discern the spirits. And then something told me, never mind that. And I just grabbed a hold of that hand, and this hand grabbed me and whisked me out. As quick as I was there, I was gone. remember sitting up in my bed with my pillow in like a fetal position after all of this happened and looking around my room. I can remember that this wasn't where I was. And all of a sudden I heard a voice tell me, "You have passed the test." At this point, all I could do was cry. I realized then that I had literally gone to hell and saw what was going on in hell. And I can never forget till this day those people crying out for help, the smell of death, the fire that I felt beneath my feet, and how desperately these people wanted out but could not leave.